There's many ways you can influence the game when you're on the court, and by this I don't necessarily mean by your playstyle. Sure, you can be a scorer, a passer, or a defender, but it's more to it as it's all about the skills that you have that are unique to your playstyle that'll help you influence the game. These so-called skills are what I like to call the arts. The arts within the game of basketball run deep. You have guys like Curry whose art is shooting, players like Kyrie Irving whose art is creativeness, and then you can stretch it all the way over to guys like Kawhi Leonard who specialize heavily in lockup protection. Ladies and gentlemen, with many different unique skill sets around the league, we're going to be diving into many players, and today we will be analyzing Nikola Jokic and the art of deception. Now, the art of deception, what do I really mean by that? Well, per the Webster Dictionary, it means to make someone believe something is true that is actually false. When we flip that over into basketball terms, we're relating it to how Nikola Jokic uses his deceptive ways to pull off amazing passes on the floor. Now, is this us saying every find from him is super deceptive? Nah, not at all, as Jokic just has these brilliant IQ reads on the floor as well, so trust and believe, we will be covering those too, but to group it all together, you can pretty much say Jokic deceives the defense night in and night out with his facilitating, which has taken not only his individual skill, but the Denver Nuggets as a whole to another level. However you want it delivered, you can select that option. You want it rushed in at your door ASAP? Well, you can make that happen. Say you need time to get in position to receive the feed. Well, Jokic can stay patient enough to get it to you in the right spot, and most of all, say you're trying to be sneaky and get the food without anyone seeing you. Well, Jokic can deceive the defense and place it right in your hands before anyone can even react. Some of you are probably like, why is you referring to food and deliveries? I'm confused. Well, the reason being is because Jokic is pretty much the Uber Eats, DoorDash delivery driver for this team. He knows how to put passes right on the platter for teammates to go eat, and trust me, it's on one of the highest levels possible. Being a threat 90 feet away from the basket isn't really something you have to think about with most guys around the league, but when you have this 7-foot Serbian who can see down the court with his hawk-like vision, you can't ever be out of place or else these bullets out the pocket start demoralizing you. Directly off rebounds, Jokic lasers his vision down the court before even landing on his feet, so once he plants, it's an easy torpedo down the floor for a touchdown. This same motion is used when he's inbounding the ball. As you can see, before he even gets fully out of bounds, Jokic is already focusing on slinging this down the court, and to make a pretty pass turn into a beautiful play, Murray catches it perfectly en route to knock down this fade at the buzzer. Not often do you see a lot of big men in today's league, or even in NBA history, make these passes with great precision, but also with such a quickness. If needed, Jokic can rebound the ball with one hand, fire it down the court with one hand to gain one assist. And since the Denver Nuggets run what I personally like to call go offense in transition, Jokic knows all he has to do is turn and fling it up the court, and Murray or another guard will be leaking out to receive it. It's not easy to make these passes down the floor, but for Jokic, it's truly just second nature. He can scan the floor very swiftly, and although people talk about his rather lack of speed, Big Yo can really get the pace moving with his ability to pass up the floor, and it helps his teammate go score at the other end in the blink of an eye. When you're seeing these passes, this is what I like to call the invitation into Jokic's passing, because you get to see a slight glimpse into what he's capable of when it comes to his facilitating, but the party hasn't even started yet. When these Hail Mary passes aren't readily available, well, that's when Jokic pushes the ball up the floor himself, becoming more involved in the offense, operating as the Nuggets point center. I know, right? Point center? You don't really hear that a lot. You hear point forward, point guard, but not really point center. Usually you'll see quicker guards initiating the fast break, but with his big man cheese ball handling skills, Jokic can take it himself, read the defense, and make split-second decisions to create scoring opportunities for his teammates. Having such lanky arms, Jokic is able to turn defense into offense by picking off this entry pass to Davis. So after some dribbles up the floor, he notices KP getting behind Lonnie Walker, and now all Jokic has to do is drop this pass right through the middle of the Lakers defense for the warm-up lay. For a lot of viewers, passes like that may seem basic or not really eye-catching, but when you slow some of these plays down, you can see the flashes of deception on display, as most would assume this overhead pass is going to Green on the cut to the basket, but instead, Jokic no-looks it over to Braun in the corner for the 22-footer. Now, his deception skills are something we're going to dive deeper into in a second, so stay tuned. But just to give you one reason right now why it's so valuable is because not only it helps him in the half court, but when you see plays where Jokic initially looks up the floor noticing MPJ on the backside, who is currently out of frame, instead of trying to send it there immediately, he knows that Prince is creeping over to help Russell on this mismatch, so it's just an easy lob over the top so Porter can slam it through. This tremendous amount of value in transition adds another layer to his already incredible passing, and it all flows directly into his half-court facilitating. You'll start to see Jokic deliver these soft touch floats over the top to his teammates, and although this one comes from the 3-point line, don't think for 1 second that the Serbian savant can't extend it out further, as once he notices there's a mismatch to exploit, Jokic can send it over the top to Gordon with ease so he can finish through the traffic. Quite simple, you probably say. Well, how about these perfectly placed floats where Jokic puts it right on the money where only Gordon can go get it? These passes can actually be fairly risky, as you not only have to place it perfectly, but you must also time it perfectly as well. Versus Cleveland on this inbound play, Jokic receives it in this slot area, and then as Brown fakes as if he's gonna screen but cuts through to the basket, Jokic puts it on the platter right in stride for Bruce to rise there for the two-hander. Having such a soft touch with the ball allows Jokic to gracefully put these passes where they need to be, and since he can just as easily float it up to sink the bucket from in close, this causes much confusion for the defense. We already know, in the NBA, with confusion, there comes breakdowns, and with breakdowns, that becomes dangerous for your defense. So once you let him get into his flow within the half-court offense, this is when the music starts coming to your ears, and the party is now fully alive. The degree of difficulty on some of these passes Jokic makes is very high, and for any other big man, I don't think we would even see them attempt passes like this, but with Jokic, he not only attempts them, but more times than not, he completes them as well. When finding your guys on the court, you have to be careful to not telegraph passes or else they will be easily picked off. So having a big man like Jokic who can deliver passes in various ways gives the Nuggets a huge advantage, as he can constantly catch the defense off guard, making them pay for any defensive mistake. I know almost everyone missed the greatness within this play because things happen so fast that we must be grateful for modern day technology. When I slow this down for you, when securing the ball after bobbling it, you can see that Jokic directly looks at MPJ in the corner, so then as he turns back the other way, he realizes that LeVert is shifting over to help, and now it's a quick zip across the court for the tray ball. It sucks for the defense because although they may want to help over in the lane, they simply can't because Jokic notices every little movement on the court, so if you happen to move out of position, then you're in for a fixing. When Jokic is operating at what I like to call his work desk, Gordon does such a great job at slipping the screens, Jokic does a good job at getting the ball to him so quickly, so this help side defender is wired to want to slide over to take this away, but who are you kidding? You can't beat a mastermind like Nikola as he slings it across court for the easy bucket. IQs as high as his don't come around often, and better yet, it's only a couple other guys on his level in the whole entire league. Jokic can notice things before they even happen, pinpoint where everyone is at on the court, and all out just pick apart the defense with his mind. It takes a mastermind to know and realize in real time that Trey Murphy is supposed to be on Bruce Brown during this play, but for Jokic, he simply knows where everyone should be. So when Murray gets planted in that paint, Jokic turns, whips it over to the corner, and that's all she wrote. Passing is an art in today's game that many players possess, but when it comes to Jokic, he is truly the Van Gogh. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like before heading over to watch the Stephen Curry Art of Shooting episode in this series. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.